What happens when a wife finally hears the truth she has been pretending not to see? Can a husband stay loving and warm after she quietly chose another man over him? And when her perfect image cracks in one simple answer, what does he do next? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Noah Hart, and I knew my marriage was in trouble before I ever said it out loud. It started as a quiet feeling, like walking into a room and sensing someone has just been talking about you, but everyone suddenly smiles. Lila smiled like that a lot these days. She laughed more at her phone than at anything I said, and she treated our house like a waiting room between her real life and her next important meeting. I work nights as a radiology tech at the hospital, so I am used to shadows and half-lit shapes. You learn to tell the difference between something harmless and something dangerous from a grainy image, and lately, my life felt the same. One night, after another stiff dinner where we talked more about her clients than about us, she finally asked why I was so distant. She said she felt like she was hugging a coat on a hanger, not a husband. I looked at her, at the perfect hair and the soft light she always picked for our living room, and I told her I could not be warm after she chose another man. I did not raise my voice. I said it like a test result I had already checked twice. Her face went pale in a second. She asked what I meant, and she tried to laugh it off, but the sound cracked halfway. I said I was not stupid, that late-night networking at the gym and deleted stories told their own story. She told me I was being paranoid and tired from my shifts, that I was making things up. I watched her talk and realized she was not asking if she had hurt me. She was asking if I could still protect her image. That was the moment something in me cooled for good. I still went to work that night. I still did my scans and smiled at patients. But while I drove past the strip mall with her favorite boutique gym and that rooftop bar above it, I decided one thing. If she wanted to pretend there was no other man, then I would stop pretending I could not see him. I spent the next day moving through work, like I was listening to a story everyone else already knew the ending to. Priya, who worked the same shift, asked why I looked like I had slept in a broom closet. I told her I was just tired, and she nodded the way people nod when they know you are lying, but will let you keep your dignity. On my break, I checked our shared cloud album and saw a thumbnail of Lila at the rooftop bar from the night before. It had auto-uploaded before she deleted it. She was leaning in close to someone just out of frame, her smile sharper than usual. I saved it quietly. That evening, she said she had another work dinner near the gym. I acted supportive and even asked if she wanted a ride, but she said she was going with co-workers. I waited an hour, then drove to the strip mall. The rooftop bar lights were soft and gold, the kind that make everyone look like a better version of themselves. I walked in and saw her at a high table with Travis, the gym manager I had met only once. They were sitting close enough that their knees touched under the table. Jenna, her co-worker, was there too, pretending to be part of the conversation, but watching them with a smirk. I approached calmly and greeted them like nothing was wrong. Travis gave a wide grin and tried to shake my hand like we were old friends. I asked about membership deals and couples discounts, and Lila nearly choked on her drink. When Travis bumped me accidentally, I stepped back and smiled. A staff member stepped in before anything grew bigger, and I let them separate us without forcing the issue. I walked out slowly, hearing Travis's voice rise behind me as he tried to look tough. Outside, the night air felt colder than usual. My phone buzzed with another auto-upload from Lila's phone, a boomerang of her and Travis clinking glasses. She must have hit delete before she even noticed it backed up. I stared at the image and realized something simple. If she was building a new life with another man, then I was done holding the pieces of the old one together. The next morning, I told myself I might still be wrong, just to see how the lie felt in my own head. It felt soft and useless, like hospital tissue paper. On my day off, I drove to the boutique gym and walked in pretending to be another tired husband thinking about getting in shape. The lobby smelled like protein powder and expensive denial. Travis was behind the counter, bright and sweaty, talking to a woman on a mat about discipline and commitment. When he saw me, he switched to his customer voice and asked how he could help, like he had not been pressing his knee into my marriage the night before. I asked about membership options and said my wife, Lila, had been training there. He smiled too wide and said she was very committed and came late sometimes when they had flexible sessions. Jenna appeared near the hallway, acting surprised to see me and making a big show of saying we should all hang out sometime. Her eyes did not match her smile. On my way out, she walked with me a few steps and said Lila was lucky to have such support at home, while she built connections with powerful people. The words were normal. The tone said something else. At the hospital later, I sat with Priya during a quiet moment on night shift and told her a thin version of the story, just enough to ask if I was imagining things. She listened, then said if it looked like cheating and felt like cheating, it usually was not branding work. She told me to save what I could see and not chase what I could not. When I got home, I opened a new hidden folder on my laptop and dropped everything inside: the auto-uploaded bar photo, the boomerang, a screenshot of a gym story where Lila had tagged the place late at night, and notes about each work dinner that matched those times. I drew a simple timeline, like I was mapping a fracture on a scan. The pattern was plain even before I finished. Late gym sessions, rooftop drinks, deleted posts, tired excuses. Lila had not just slipped once. She had carved out a whole double life between my shifts. Staring at the screen, I felt calmer than I expected. If I stayed, I would be the punchline in someone else's story. If I moved carefully, I could make sure that when the laughing started, none of it would be at my expense. That night, I left the hospital earlier than usual because a machine went down and the schedule opened. Instead of feeling happy about the extra rest, I drove slowly through our neighborhood and parked a little way from our house with the lights off. I told myself I was being stupid, that normal husbands did not sit in their cars watching their own front doors, but I stayed anyway. The street was quiet, only a few porch lights and the blue glow of TVs behind curtains. After half an hour, I saw headlights turn into the cul-de-sac. It was the same dark SUV from the gym, the one with the low growl and the ego to match. It rolled past my car, paused in front of my house for a moment, then parked 2 doors down. I lifted my phone and took a short video through the windshield. My hands were steady. If I confronted him now, it would just be 2 men in the dark yelling in the street. That never ends with the right man looking guilty. So I stayed still and let him think he was unseen. When he pulled away a few minutes later, I started my engine and followed at a safe distance. The SUV headed toward the hospital and turned into the big parking deck. Levels of concrete, blinking lights, and tired people. He parked near the stairwell. I went up 1 level and stopped where I could see him, but he could not see my plate. For a moment, I thought he was meeting someone else, a woman stepping out of the shadows, but I could not see her clearly. When he suddenly noticed my car, he stiffened. We both moved toward the stair door at the same time. Our shoulders brushed. He asked if I was following him. I said the city only had 1 deck, and I had the same bad taste in parking. I stepped back instead of forward. I let him walk away first. Back home, a new rideshare receipt hit our joint email. The trip started near the deck, ended near the gym, and used our shared card. Lila later swore she spent that night watching a show alone. I listened and nodded, but inside I circled that ride like a bright mark on an X-ray that no one else wanted to look at. The next morning, Lila moved around the kitchen like a TV host who had not read the bad reviews yet. She talked about work trips and new contacts while I poured coffee and watched our shared tablet on the counter. A notification popped up from the HOA app, something about a spring community gathering. She complained about the constant emails, said they cared more about lawn height than people's lives. I smiled because, for once, I agreed. On my way out, I ran into Mr. Ellis, our HOA president, standing by the mailboxes with a clipboard like a security guard for bushes. He asked if we would consider hosting a small neighborhood party soon. He said families liked seeing stable couples open their homes. I almost laughed at the timing. Instead, I asked about using the shared HOA TV for a slideshow. He said it was encouraged and even told me how easy it was to connect my phone to it. When I got home that afternoon, Lila told me she had a great idea. She wanted to host a casual party to reset the mood after I had been so distant. She said it would show everyone we were fine. I told her it was perfect and suggested we invite Jenna and some of her work friends, maybe even the gym crowd so they could see us as a team. She lit up at the word team. I could feel the word turn to ash in my mouth, but I let it sit there. Later, I texted Jenna and asked if she and her friends wanted to come to a small get-together. She replied too fast, full of smiley faces, and asked if she could bring a +1. She did not write his name. She did not need to. At the hospital, during a slow hour, I sat with Priya and told her I was thinking about a public scene. Not a fight, just truth. She warned me not to become the crazy husband yelling in his own living room. She said facts were enough if I showed them calmly. Before leaving, she handed me her phone and showed a private gym staff story I had missed from weeks before. Travis and Jenna, at an out-of-town event, pressed close, laughing like they already had a secret. I saved a screenshot and thanked her. On the way home that night, my plan felt simple. I would not drag anyone to court in this suburb. I would only let their own pictures and their own timelines stand in front of our neighbors, as bright and sharp as any image I took at work. The night of the party felt like preparing an operating room for a surgery no one had agreed to, except the patient was my marriage and the audience was our neighbors with plastic cups. Lila spent the afternoon arranging candles and snack boards, choosing music that said, "Happy couple, 0 problems." I carried the HOA TV in from the clubhouse and set it up in the living room, acting proud of myself for managing the cables. She asked what I planned to show, and I told her it was just a mix of old trip photos, funny doorbell clips, and some harmless family stuff. That part was true. I just did not mention the other folder. Guests arrived in waves. Priya with a store-bought cake, a few families from the street, and finally Jenna, holding a bottle of wine and smiling too wide. Behind her, Travis walked in like he owned the foundation of the house, wearing a tight shirt with the gym logo and the kind of confidence that needs constant feeding. Lila greeted him with surprise that looked a little too rehearsed. I moved around the room, topping off drinks, playing the calm host. When enough people were there, I suggested we put on a little slideshow for fun. Kids sat on the floor, adults leaned on doorways. I opened the family album from my phone and cast it to the TV. The first few pictures were safe: vacations, birthday cakes, a clip of a delivery guy slipping on our front step and laughing. Everyone chuckled. Then I, accidentally, tapped the other folder. The screen flashed a still from our doorbell cam. Timestamp just before 1 a.m, a man shaped exactly like Travis stepping toward our door. Before anyone could fully process it, the image flipped to the rooftop bar boomerang of Lila clinking glasses with him, her body angled in a way no one uses for simple networking. Someone near the couch sucked in a breath. Lila lunged for the remote, saying it was the wrong folder, a mistake, just random junk. The TV showed a ride-share receipt screenshot next. Our joint card, pickup near the hospital deck, drop-off near the gym, time matching one of her quiet nights at home. Silence stretched. Travis moved toward the TV like he might unplug it, and Mr. Ellis snapped that the equipment was HOA property and not to be damaged. I did not say a word. I just watched their faces and noticed one small detail. Jenna looked less shocked than annoyed, like a magician whose trick had been ruined too early. After everyone finally left, Lila closed the door and leaned against it like she was holding back a flood. For a second, I thought she might actually admit everything and save us both the performance. Instead, she asked how I could humiliate her like that. Not how she could do that to our marriage. How I could do that to her image. I told her I had only shown real moments from our own devices. The TV had not invented anything. She said it was all out of context, that she had been stupid and lonely and pressured by work. She said Travis made her feel seen and that I was always tired. I asked when feeling seen turned into hidden rides and deleted videos. She cried and said she never meant for it to go so far, that Jenna had told her training with Travis would help her career, that he had connections with the hospital and with the right executives. Hearing Jenna's name made something click in my head. The next day, I waited outside Lila's office building near the parking lot. When Jenna came out, she jumped a little seeing me, then plastered on her friendly face. I told her calmly that the party had raised a few questions. She said I had overreacted, that Lila was just stressed, that having male friends and trainers did not equal cheating. I showed her the screenshot from Priya's gym story. Jenna and Travis, at an out-of-town event weeks before Lila ever stepped into his gym, pressed close at the bar. Her expression slipped for a second. She snapped that Travis was supposed to focus on the right clients, not fall in love with every married rep he saw, then caught herself. I thanked her for clarifying his job description. That evening, I remembered an old shared folder on our family email where Lila sometimes forwarded work stuff so she could print it at home. Most of it was spam and meeting notes. Buried in the thread was a forwarded email from Jenna to HR, complaining about Lila's unprofessional closeness with an external gym vendor and suggesting it might harm the company's image. She had dated it weeks before the party, before anyone but them could know. I sat there, reading that line over and over, and realized this was never just about my wife and her ego. It was also about a coworker using my life as leverage for a promotion. If they wanted power, I decided, I would give them a different kind, the kind that comes when everyone finally sees what they have really been doing. The next evening I stepped outside just as a grocery van blocked half our narrow street. Neighbors drifted out with their trash bins and curiosity. Right on cue, Travis's SUV pulled up, Jenna in the passenger seat, Lila trailing behind them on foot. He started shouting about the party, about fake evidence, revving his engine like that could scare pixels. The van forced him into an awkward reverse. Brakes squealed, horns blared, phones lifted. I stayed on the sidewalk and calmly mentioned the HR email, the out-of-town story, the dates that did not match. Jenna broke first, yelling at him. I turned and walked back inside while the argument finally belonged to them.